Hi everyone, Carter Krishnaiyer here, and a little bit of crossover here. I cover soccer and work in soccer for a living, and I have a soccer site, beyondthe90.net, which on Substack if you want to subscribe. We cover Florida soccer really in depth, but also we've started covering cricket recently. Anyway, there is a major labor dispute that has broken out in the sport of soccer with a Florida-based entity, USL, United Soccer League, which is based in Tampa, in the West Shore area of Tampa is where their headquarters building is. This labor dispute has broader implications in the current landscape of oligarchy, if you want to call it that, in the United States under the Trump administration. So let's specifically speak about this labor dispute and why it has broader implications. So you have a situation, and if you want all the background on the dispute itself, go to beyondthe90.net. Just you can piece through most of the pieces about, I think all of the pieces about the labor dispute are not behind a paywall at this point. Some were at a certain point and paywall expired. So you have a situation where organized labor, where soccer players are making, while expenses are going like this, their wages are going like this, and they're losing access to healthcare. There's a team that had to pull the plug in Georgia 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, because of workers' comp insurance. That's due to this administration, the inability to get workers' comp insurance at a competitive rate. There are players that do not have healthcare in the USL, believe it or not, professional league, high-level professional league, a professional league that's talking about challenging MLS and its Division I status and trying to be a comparable league. And it's a league that, again, is based in Florida and has many teams in Florida. Now, players, the league is going to allege that players are being offered healthcare now, but in some cases, those healthcare plans will have as much as like $7,000 deductibles. So it's crazy. The situation. Right now, we are in a position where this labor dispute is getting more interest from organized labor nationally, from the Communication Workers of America, from the AFL-CIO, from the political leadership of the unions in Washington, D.C., because of the condition of workers in this Trump administration. And it's a time where labor feels they need to make a big stand, need to make a big statement. So what we have, in essence, is a situation where the players last week, over 90% of them, over 90% of the union membership, which is basically 95% of the players. So you could argue, okay, maybe it's a little under 90% if all the non-union members voted no. But basically, 88 to 92% of the players have voted to authorize a strike. The USL season begins this week. The Tampa Bay Rowdies season begins this week. Tampa Bay Rowdies are in that league. Sporting Jacksonville is going to have their first ever match on the men's side. Their women's team has been playing now for close to a year. First ever match on the men's side this weekend. Miami FC starts a week later. Those three clubs in serious jeopardy of those matches not being played, not being contested because of this potential work stoppage. Federal mediators have now been called into this dispute. The NLRB, there are certain rules in terms of how this could look in the next few weeks. Now, has the NLRB been stacked with Trump sympathetic appointments? Look, the NLRB used to be a very independent board, and it was George H.W. Bush that defied the NLRB's recommendation on the Eastern Airlines strike, something that affected Florida pretty profoundly also. And since that point, it's been increasingly politicized. And when we've had these Republican administrations, the NLRB has tended to now kind of toe the line. And especially with this administration, you can imagine how bad it could be. So labor wants to make a stand. This will give these players, USL players who don't make much money, access to a strike fund to sustain a strike. And the symbolism ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which Donald Trump's arms and hands are all over, right? It's the Trump World Cup. He and Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA, are mates. They're the best. They're best buddies, right? Infantino even is on the board of peace that Trump created. Infantino was at the event in Egypt about the Middle East peace. Only head of state, I believe, that was at that shindig. Only tenured diplomatic person, okay, head of states and diplomatic people were at that thing. And of course, Donald Trump got the first FIFA Peace Prize. So at this time, when Trump's megalomania, Infantino's megalomania have merged to create a World Cup, which where the ticket prices are exorbitant. No one watching this video, no one making this video, that's me, can actually afford the tickets to this World Cup. It is for the plutocrats, it is for the elites, it is for the Trump family who are always feeding at the trough and grabbing. That's who this World Cup is for. At a time that's happening, one of the major professional leagues in the United States is screwing its workers. The symbolism is amazing. So keep an eye on this space. There could be a major work stoppage, which is related to the broader context of things in Donald Trump's America. Could be a major work stoppage in soccer involving entities in Florida and an entity based in Florida.